Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a video and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Today, I'm privileged to have a person who's passionate about travel, Anurag Malik. Anurag, welcome to the show. Anurag
Thank you so
is,
much, sir.
Anurag is the founder of Red Scarab Travel and Media. He's a leading travel writer. He has worked with India.com, OI India, and for most national and international travel publications. Anurag has authored several books. He has made his writing and acting debut in Bollywood. And he has written lyrics for the rock band Document Done and many more. And in his own words, he's a nomad at heart and a writer by choice. So, Anurag, tell me, what would you say are three key milestones in your life or your career?
Well, thank you so much, Ashutosh, for having me on this lovely panel. And I would say, if you want to, figure out what you want to do, first you should be clear about what you don't want to do. So, I didn't have too much of a career goal as such, but as I went to college, my first pillar was that when I joined business administration, and uncannily so, dropping out of it was the next step.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I did my summer training in an advertising agency.
Mhm.
Read about David Ogilvy and the ad gurus, and I instantly knew that advertising is what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And after about 3-4 years in advertising, the first .com wave happened, and there were these companies which were willing to pay me double my advertising salary
Mhm.
for moonlighting there. And there I got introduced to travel writing, where I had to take care of a vertical called Drifter, which was dedicated to offbeat budget travel in India. So that was the second key say milestone in my life, where I made the jump from advertising to travel writing.
Mhm.
And then, of course, when I got married in 2006, to my now wife, Priya Ganapati, my wedding gift to her was quitting my corporate job.
Okay.
So
Fantastic.
it sounds very crazy,
Yeah.
that you think that the normal career milestones as acha naukri ho gayi, now you're getting married, so now it's the start of stability. But my contribution was to kind of throw in the corporate towel, so to speak, and lead a life of independent travel writing,
Fantastic.
consulting, and so on. So these were probably the three
Wonderful.
broad milestones.
And then incredible milestones. So, Anurag, let's move to Red Scarab Travel and Media. Tell me about what you do in this organization.
So initially, we were doing a lot of travel writing, and when the .com bubble bust, I knew instantly that even though the bubble might be bust, but I don't want to give up travel writing as a career, because hey, you're traveling, you're getting paid for it, you're getting published. What could you ask for more?
Correct.
People work, save up, and then travel. And here I'm being given this on a platter. So I thought I'm not going to let this go. So we decided that the best way to we did have a lot of mixed media background. I come from advertising, print, a little bit of radio. But in 2006, after we got married and I put in my papers, we thought, let's focus on travel writing, as a dedicated effort. And so we created Red Scarab Travel and Media as an outfit which does all sorts of madcap things which nobody is willing to do, which could mean doing books. So we have done lots of books for the Rough Guides, Michelin, the Golden Triangle guidebooks on Tamil Nadu. So typically these would be book projects. There would be assignments. It could be research for a restaurant. We helped set up an award-winning restaurant that included doing a 2.5 year long culinary research with 2 chefs and a video crew traveling all over Karnataka and setting up Uta Bangalore. So it won quite a few awards. We work closely with tourism boards, hospitality brands,
Okay.
do social media. And then, of course, the last straw was helping this so-called mystery persona who was coming to India, and they needed help to curate the India episode of a TV program.
Right.
And we did an entire recce of Kerala and Coorg And after 2 months, we realized that that person was none other than Gordon Ramsay, the
Wow.
most infamous TV chef, of all time. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, we love the fact that there is no format to it, and we just move from project to project.
Very nice. So let's, you're such a multifaceted individual. I'm going to take your journey in steps. So let's talk first about travel. When did you first discover your passion to travel?
Well, as we come from sort of at a time when we were fairly middle class, and the only concept of travel was going to your masi or mama's place
Correct.
during summer vacations, or someone's wedding. So I credit my Mausaji, who was an IAS officer in Bhubaneswar, Mr. KB Verma, for putting the bug of travel in me, where he would just get all his kids in the car, drive from Bhubaneswar to Jamshedpur, and we'd carry on to my mama's place in Nagpur. So those were the first, early road trips that I did. And then later on, when I went to college, Jamshedpur, I grew up in Jamshedpur,
Yeah.
which is a lovely industrial town. So those days there wasn't too much, we weren't, really into travel as such until we went for our, entrance examinations to Calcutta. So that was when you first went independent, in terms of travel with friends. And then when I went to Delhi for college and business administration, College of Business Studies, that's when I did a lot of my early travels to Parvati Valley, Himachal, trekking, And then later on, when I was in advertising, I sort of, asked myself, have I been sent on earth to do dealer panels for Coca-Cola? And the answer was a resounding no. So I put in my papers and went AWOL with my design partner, Parvez, and we traveled. That was like a gap year of sorts in 98. So that sort of really, cemented the concept of travel, and the importance of it in my life.
So, as I was reading about you, I was fascinated to learn that you've trekked in the Himalayas, you walked with the Kavariyas, you've jumped off a 160-meter bridge. My question to you is, other than the experience, why would you do this? But more important, what are your learnings?
Well, I mean, as Reinhold Messner has greatly said, he climbs mountains because they are there.
Correct. Correct.
So to travel is, the I would say the easiest form of mind transformation, and your own. You travel out to kind of discover yourself. And I was at a time in college when a lot of things were going around in your head, and travel just brings about different perspectives. You get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes we tend to get too set in our ways, our patterns, and travel is like a disruptive. It's like
Sure.
a disruption of sorts. Certain things don't pan out the way you thought they would. So it kind of makes you flexible, which is a great mantra for life as well.
Sure.
And just, the fact that you meet so many different people and, their stories and anecdotes, it's the greatest open university of all time.
Well said.
And people have been doing it for millennia.
Very true.
So I feel very, 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 thankful that I got this mantra early in life.
So, as you look back at all the places that you have ever traveled to, what would you list as your top 3 destinations in India?
Oh, that's, though I don't claim to be a, great celebrity, but it's like asking Sachin Tendulkar, which is your favorite century,
And he will say so. He will tell you that.
So, but definitely I would say Ladakh is really up there because of the lunar landscape that it has, the kind of dramatic vistas it offers, the harshness of the climate, and yet the warmth and hospitality of the people that inhabit this cold desert. So Ladakh is really a very transformative destination, even in college when I went there and when I went AWOL from advertising, that's where I spent most of my time, where we stayed in a monastery. In 2 days we ran out of money, and then we offered our services to the gentleman there, Bhikkhu Sangasena, and said, I'm a writer, he's a designer, and we offer our services to you. And he was like befuddled. Who on earth does such a thing, So Ladakh will always be very special and dear to me. And no matter how many times you go there, you discover a different aspect of it. Another destination that's very close to me is Hampi.
Okay.
Of course, the citadel of the
I agree.
Vijayanagar Empire, and you only see, the structures that remain, what light what lay above it was like an entire superstructure of wood that you can only imagine. And even in its desolate nature, even in its the state of ruin, it is beautiful, and it thrums to a very different vibration. It's mystical, you know. And maybe number three, I would generally put it as the Himalayas. You know, we often get asked mountains or beaches, and without batting an eyelid, I say mountains, because mountains have a sense of gravitas. It's got a certain depth, and Himalayas, even though it's like a pretty long chain of mountains, it's really hard to pick up one spot.
I agree.
But Tapovan, for example, in Uttarakhand, was really special because of this majestic peak that you see there called Shivling. So Himalayas, I would say, you know.
Wonderful. So now let's move on, Anurag, and talk a little bit about your travel writing.
Yes.
You know, you've written for every possible publication, you know, that I could think of when I was reading about you. What would you say are the differences in writing as a travel writer and as any other writer or any journalist? What special skills do you need to bring out?
You need to be receptive. You know, you should be fearless to try out new experiences, new dishes, going into places that where you might think that, hey, is it safe? You know, so it means going out on a limb a little bit, trusting strangers, and then wonderful things happen. And once you let that happen, you know, you should document everything, you know, as much as you can. So when you travel, you know, a very crucial part of travel is also the journey. You know, some people find the journey part a little tough or onerous, and they think that, oh, if you can just transport me there, it's great. But great things happen on the journey as well, you know.
Correct.
So I make it a point to be really open and, you know, eyes wide open whenever I'm traveling. There's a lot of stuff that happens on the road, great conversations with the driver, you know. And then, of course, once you reach a place, you need to kind of just give it your all. So it is a complete immersive approach, and that I find has worked very well for me.
Okay. And, you know, when you when you write about your experiences when you travel, you need to be absolutely transparent and truthful for your reader. But the guy who's being written about may not be particularly happy about what you're writing. How do you tackle that?
Yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of grays to that question. You know, sometimes we go to a very special place. Like, for example, we went to Neil Island in the Andamans, and there, those days it was still very rustic. It wasn't, this was way back in 2010 when we were working on a set of documentary films for Andaman Tourism, which was hosted by Tom Alter. And the guys there, they just begged us, please don't tell the world about Neil Island. You know, we don't want this to. So sometimes that's a dilemma that we have. When a place is too special, do you really tell people about it, or do you retain it as, you know, a secret? Because once you write about it, it's no longer a secret.
Yes.
But of course, transparency is really, really key. We have to be honest to the reader as well as the destination. You know, we never couch it in a way. Of course, our whole tone as travel writers is kind of self-deprecatory. So we like poking fun at ourselves. If we suck at something, you know, we write it like it is, not masquerade as experts or specialists in any way. But the whole idea is to get into the nitty-gritties and tell the story as it is. Of course, with a certain sense of panache or style or wit.
Very interesting. So, you know, Anurag, you've worked with people across age groups. And now we are in the age group of what I call the millennials and the Gen Zs. What is your experience of expectations of travel of people who are older as compared to the the Gen X, the millennials and the Gen Zs, because they're only looking for experiences?
Yes. The millennials are a pretty interesting lot because they are quite fearless to begin with. You know, they don't come with a lot of the baggage that we used to have. You know, there were limitations of money, finance, you know, number of days, which I see. You know, they are now earning a lot quicker. They have disposable money, and hence, they are unafraid to go on self drives. They have their own vehicle, so it kind of sheds all the baggage that the older generations carried with them, which is a great way. Sometimes they'll say, hey, let's not do Goa, let's do a cycling trip in Laos, which we would have never thought of. So in that sense, the millennials are very, very brave and fearless and sort of going where none of us have gone before, in a way.
And you do you also do a lot of travel writing about places outside India?
Oh, yes. So we work very closely with our tourism boards, both national and international. So we've had quite a few interesting forays going to Zambia, and doing a stopover in Addis in Ethiopia was really great, because as growing up, you played these capitals and geography quizzes, and you'd always hear of, hey, Addis Ababa, and then later on, once we reached there, we realized it's not even Ababa, they call it Abeba, which means flower, beautiful flower. So some great trips have happened. The convivial nature of people in Ireland, for example, was wonderful. You reach Dublin and you just feed off the energy of the city, and the people, they are such great talkers. They love folklore, they love their drink, and you can walk in a stranger into a bar and come out as if you've been long lost friends.
Correct.
So I mean, we always love traveling wherever the opportunity arises, whether it's Australia, Singapore, Far East, Europe. We've had some great trips to Germany and Switzerland. So I mean, it's a big world out there, but we don't try and have a bucket list of, just let the organic nature of things take care of our travels.
Amazing. So let's talk about now your third avatar, which is as someone who has written lyrics and someone who's made an acting debut. So let's start with your debut in Bollywood as an actor and a writer, and then tell me about your lyrics.
So it all goes back to sort of college, when I sort of got myself out of college, and a friend in tow, Lokesh Dhar, who's now in the US, and we were staying here together in Bangalore, and his brother, younger brother, Aditya, he was, after he moved out, he stayed with me in Bangalore, and he always wanted to get into films. So, and we had a stint together in Radio City in Delhi, and then once he moved to Delhi, to Bombay, I was helping him a little bit, hone his scripts and stuff like that. And then it became such a necessity to attend these meetings that in 2008, I finally moved to Bombay. And then, the whole thing happened of working on scripts and drafts and things like that, and meetings. And of course, there is an entire gestation period in Bollywood. It doesn't happen. Everybody lands up on a train, thinking that he's going to be the next great star or Javed Akhtar or whoever, So it doesn't happen overnight. So that's how I got into films, and I worked as an assistant writer on Priyadarshan's Akrosh. And there was a very funny incident about how there was a bit role. It was being shot in Chettinad, and there was a small role of a priest, which we had not cast in Bombay because it didn't have any dialogues. He just had, but he was very critical to the film, because he sees this elopement of the couple and, goes and reports it, and he's a snitch basically. So we thought we'll cast him locally in Chettinad, and we couldn't find anyone meeting that profile until one day, Mr. Priyadarshan, he was just looking around, and, the need was for a guy with long hair and long beard. And then suddenly they were like, hey, what about Anurag? Let's cast him. And before you knew it, I was moved from the vanity van, from from the streets into the vanity van, and with makeup being applied and stuff like that. Of course, it was a bit role, so I can't really call it my debut because for the longest time, my mother has this big grouse against my long hair and my long beard, and that I look older than I should be, as all mothers would. But this was one instance where it worked in my favor. So we still have a joke about it. And then later on, we dabbled in a few scripts, and we worked on Saat Khoon Maaf, where we did the location hunt for it in Coorg for Vishal Bhardwaj. And then Aditya, he went on to make his first debut movie called Uri. So Aditya Dhar, he directed Uri, and I'm happy that I played a small part in his journey, but to his own credit. So, but then I realized that Bollywood is kind of taking me away from my core, which is travel. And that's when we sort of recalibrated. And got back into travel writing full time. So I keep having these little asides. So a little bit of radio, a little bit of, music or rock band, even you mentioned lyrics.
Yeah.
So we were all working in this .com called oindia.com, which was a youth portal. And I was in charge of the travel vertical called Drifter. And there were other people who were looking after music, DJ, whatever, campus writing. That's where I met my future wife, Priya, who was handling creative writing. And there was a bunch of talented musicians who were playing covers. So I said, why are you playing covers? You surely can't play, Roadhouse Blues better than, Jim Morrison and The Doors. So why are you even attempting it? We don't have words. So I said, I'll provide the words. And that's how I got into writing songs. And we were known for our sort of experimental iconoclastic music. We were at a .com, we were conceived there. That's why the band was called Document Done, because that's the message that loads at the bottom of a web page, when it's fully loaded.
Correct.
So that's where the name comes from. And then we had a good run for 2.5 years. We had our own gigs since we were conceived from a corporate space. We used to do a platform for corporate bands called Touch Base on Labor Day, 1st of May. We used to do a gig called Down MG Road on 2nd October, which was our own tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, because we were tired of the fact that every 2nd October they'll show Gandhi on TV, and every city has an MG Road, which is the exact antithesis of what he stood for.
Correct.
So it kind of bothered me. So we conceived a gig. We had a good run. We won Radio City Live, which was a competition for local bands, and we played to a 30,000 audience with Pentagram and Euphoria and Raghu Dikshit. So, but then, that's how that paved the way for me to get into radio, and so it's like a fairly organic journey. I don't plot too much. I just let, the magic happen, so to speak.
So, Anurag, I have time for two more questions, and I'm going to move to the last segment of our conversation. Some questions for you personally. For someone who's done so many different things, and as your mom says, you look older than you actually are, with so much more to look forward to. What does success mean to Anurag at the stage of life you're in at today?
Well, to be honest, Ashutosh, I've never chased success in the true sense of the word. I've just done, whatever has made me happy intrinsically, and success and failure is a byproduct of that. If you just believe in yourself, if you fail, it's okay. You just get up, dust yourself, and carry on to the next goal. And if you achieve something, which you are proud of, it's just another step, in a long journey. It just spurs you to do something bigger, better, something which leaves an impact, which touches lives in a way. Because I was fairly insular in my early part of my life, very inward, just about me. And then you realize that you're actually a small part of a beautiful web of life, your own family, the society, the country, the world, the planet, and it's to understand your role in it and just play your part. And the rest, it just happens.
Very nice. And my last question to you now, and it's just a follow-up from my question to you on success. For someone who does so many amazing things, I mean, traveling, writing, done a gig, music, Bollywood, who or what inspires you to keep doing so many different things?
It has to be all the amazing people that we meet, Sometimes you just even read about one guy in one village somewhere. He's doing something so inspirational, whether it's a Maji who cut a road through a mountain, or a Jadev Paeng who created, an artificial forest, a Bullu Imam who's, conserving the vernacular painting legacy of Jharkhand, a lady who was sort of rehabilitated by the creation of the Kabini Reservoir, and she tells you stories about how she played with tiger cubs, when which her brothers gave to her as playthings. I mean, these are fascinating stories. So for me, the magic is in meeting all these wonderful people, documenting their stories, and deriving inspiration from them. So that for me is, and of course, all the people know about all the the celebrities, the figures. Of course, even books, as it's such a mind opener. I regret that little bit, in our modern times, I'm not able to read as much as we used to.
Mhm.
But books, travel, and places, is really, something that inspires me to no end. And music, of course.
Amazing. Anurag, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. I wish you success in everything that you're doing and more.
Thank you much. I might be a little offbeat character in your galaxy of
No, no.
stars, but I hope I could bring something to the table. And
Yes,
it was
you
a
did.
pleasure and a joy talking to you. Thank you
you.
so much. And I wish you many more books and many more such encounters in future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.